Hello student, if you remember in last part we have started with the transistor. We have seen what is meant by transistor. After that we have seen how it consists of, how the three terminals are there. We have seen a symbol of transistor. Now what we have to do, today we are going to learn, apart from that in last part what we have seen, the different mode of working of transistor, common base, common collector, common emitter, that part already we have seen. Now what is here, we are going to learn the characteristics of transistor in common emitter mode. Means emitter is common at input and output, and that mode we have to learn today. Now for that, if you remember, just we have to draw the diagram. Already I have plotted a diagram. Just look at a diagram here. So this is a transistor. If we see here, as this is a base, as we know it is a base, this doesn't have an arrow, so it is said to be collector, and this has an arrow, so it is said to be emitter. So this is a transistor having these three terminals, emitter, base, collector. Apart from this, just look at the arrow of the emitter. Here arrow is going outward. Current flows from positive to negative. So this must be P region, this must be N region, so this must be N region. So this is NPN transistor we have today. NPN transistor which is connected in common emitter mode. Now let's start with this. How it works, that we have to start. So see, in this case emitter, here this emitter is going toward here. Just emitter is common at the input and output also. That's why it's said to be common emitter mode of transistor. Now we know, as the positive of the battery connected to P region, negative of the battery connected to N region, input junction, that is emitter base junction, is forward bias. At the same time, output junction must be in reverse bias so that it work in active region. Let's look at over output junction. Now let's see, this is collector, it is N type, it is connected to positive, N semiconductor connected to positive, and P semiconductor connected to negative. That means what? Opposite polarities. Means this collector emitter junction is reverse bias. And now in this case we can say input junction between emitter and base, it is forward bias because of this battery VBB. Output junction, that is junction between this emitter and collector, that is what? Reverse bias by this battery VCC. Now apart from this, here there are four meters we have used. One is a input current measurement. The input current is IB, that was measured by this meter, milliammeter we can say, or microammeter. Apart from this, input voltage is voltage between base and emitter, VBE, that was measured by this voltmeter, and this voltmeter measured the input voltage VBE. This milliammeter or microammeter measure the input current. At the same time, there are two meters they have shown at the output also. These two output also. Why they have shown the output? Because we want to measure output current, IC, collector current, that was measured by this milliammeter. Then output voltage was measured by this voltmeter, and the output voltage is what? Voltage between collector and emitter, VCE. And here the polarities of this output junction is reverse bias in this battery VCC, and the load resistance is connected in series with the collector. So this is the basic construction of CE mode, transistor in CE mode. Now we have to see the transistor characteristics. Now in this CE mode, there are two type of characteristic of transistor in all three modes. So we are going to learn only CE mode because it's very important and very famous because of its good properties and characteristics. So there are only two characteristics. One is said to be input characteristics. Input characteristics. This input characteristics measure the variation of input current with input voltage. That's why it is said to be input characteristics. While doing these variations, output voltage VCE must be constant. That is the condition. And after that, another characteristic is there, that is said to be output characteristics. Output characteristics related to output. So it is variation of output voltage with the output current IC. Okay. And while doing this, we have to put the input current constant. Always remember one fact. In input characteristics, vary the input voltage, measure the input current. While doing this, output voltage is constant, and that is said to be input characteristics. When we find out the output characteristics, vary the output voltage VCE, measure the output current IC. While doing this, put the input current IB constant, and that are said to be output characteristics. Now let's start with the input characteristic first. So this input characteristics is a variation, or you can draw the graph, It is a variation of input voltage with respect to input current. So input voltage is what? VBE versus input current is what? IB. So this is nothing but what? Input characteristics. So while doing this input characteristics, let's see, this current IB is taken along y-axis and voltage VBE taken along x-axis. Now if you see your book, in your book they have shown the same parameter where IB is measured in mu A. Mu A means what? It is microampere. Okay, microampere current will be measured in 10 raised to minus 6 ampere. That is microampere. A very small current is this, so microampere. Voltage is in volt. And if you remember, we have learned the forward bias characteristics of diode. Similar to that, this will goes up. So it is forward bias characteristic like this. But while doing this, what we have done? We have kept the output voltage constant, and output voltage is what? VCE. So we can write this as VCE equal to constant. Constant means what? Either you can take 2 volt, 4 volt, 10 volt, 20 volt, like that. In your book they have taken 10 volt, so let's take it 10 volt constant. So output voltage is constant, and by varying input voltage and measuring the input current, it will create a characteristics that is said to be input characteristics. Now remember, in this input characteristic, what is remaining part? Remaining part is what? Input resistance we want to find out. If you remember, we have just learned in 11th standard Ohm's law, V equal to IR. So voltage equal to I into R. I is a current, R is a resistance. That part we know. Just I will write once again here. So that we have learned in Ohm's law, V equal to IR, where R is the resistance, I is the current, and V is the voltage. Now remember, here we want to find out in input characteristics what is the input resistance that we want to find out. From this Ohm's law, if V equal to IR, what is R equal to? This implies that R equal to V divided by I. Voltage divided by current gives the resistance. Here it is input characteristics. So what is resistance at the input? Suppose the resistance at the input is Ri, and that can be find out here. So here we can write one equation, Ri equal to, one equation we can write voltage divided by current. What is the voltage at this? It is a VBE. So we can write Ri equal to VBE divided by input current, that is IB here. So we can write here VBE divided by IB. And remember, this is possible only when it varies. It varies. So vary the voltage, note down the change in a current, variation in the current. So both are varying, so we have to use the symbol delta. So this triangular symbol we are going to use, it is said to be delta VBE divided by delta IB. This delta means what? Change in voltage divided by corresponding change in current. Their ratio gives the resistance at the input, and that is said to be input resistance of a transistor. Similarly, let's go toward the output characteristics. The circuit diagram remains same. Only difference is what? In output characteristics, we are going to measure the output variations, variation of output voltage with the output current. So that we have to learn. So let's write down here. It is the output characteristics. While doing this, input current must be constant. So let's draw again the diagram. So again we can draw this diagram. Variation of output current with the output voltage is VCE. Now remember, in your book also, this output voltage they have mentioned IC as the output voltage, and that must be in milliampere. Remember, milliampere means 10 raised to minus 3. Initially IB is in microampere, minus 6. So this is 1000 times greater than IB. Are you getting? IC is 1000 times greater than IB. Why? Because this IB we have taken in microampere, means 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. We have taken this IC in milliampere, means what? 10 raised to minus 3 ampere. Here there is a variation, sorry, minus 6 here it is, because it is microampere. Microampere 10 raised to minus 6 ampere, and milliampere means 10 raised to minus 3 milliampere. Here in between there is a difference of 10 raised to 3. 10 raised to 3 means what? 1000. So this collector current is 1000 times greater than that of input base current, and that's why here IC is taken in milliampere and this VC. Now here we know that we have already learned variation of output voltage with the output current. At this time, what should be the constant? Input current should be the constant. IB should be constant. Now, if we draw the diagram of this, it goes like this. Or if you draw the characteristics, it goes like this. Such type of characteristic it has. What exactly this means? This means what? One horizontal line here correspond for one value of IB. In your book, if you see the value they have taken as a IB as 10 microampere and so on. So here it is IB is 10 microampere. At that time, how it get varied that they have mentioned VC versus IC. Again, next thing if we see here it is IB is 20 microampere and so on. It is 30, 40 and just you can take much more also 50. So this is the variation of output voltage with the output current. But point to be remember is here as output voltage get changed, output current get changed up to this parameter. After that it remains constant. Why it's constant? Because IB is constant at 10 microampere. Now if we change the IB, what will occur? This value, again it is constant up to this value, again it remains constant. Increases up to this value, again constant. IB equal to 20 microampere. In this fashion, this current get increases with voltage, and remember highest value, this value for 10 microampere, this is for 20, this is for 30 and so on. That higher value of output current at which it is almost constant, that depends on what? That depends on the input current value. So that we have mentioned IB equal 10 microampere, it will be IC will be this. IB equal to 20 microampere, IC would be this. So what we can see, as IB increases, this constant value of IC increases accordingly. That means output current is controlled by input current, and that we want here, and that is said to be output characteristics. Again, similar to initial case, we want to find out the resistance, and here resistance at this output part, so it is said to be output resistance, and that was represented by suppose R suffix O. Output resistance, as we know, according to Ohm's law, V equal to IR. Now according to that, same, find out the value of R. R equal to what? V divided by I. So R0 equal to V divided by I. Now what is this V? Output voltage it is. It is VCE divided by IC. Output voltage divided by output current. So here it can be measured the resistance at the output in terms of what? How the output voltage changes, and according to how the output current changes. That's why we have to consider here variations. So we must consider symbol delta here. So it is delta VCE divided by delta IC. It will give the output resistance. I hope all of you understand what is the input characteristics. Input characteristics means what? Variation of input voltage, and accordingly how the input current gets changed. While doing this, output voltage VCE must be constant. That comes in input characteristics. We have find out the input resistance. Again it is what? VBE divided by IB. Both are varying, so it is delta. Similarly, output characteristic means what? It is variation of output voltage with the output current. So both are changing, so we should use a delta symbol, and we have find out the output resistance. But variation of output voltage, how the current is changing. While doing this, what is constant? Input current, base current IB is constant. Okay, so just we have written this VC divided by delta IC. We can write one parameter like this, when IB is constant. Constant means what? It may be 10, 20, 30, 40, that value. Similarly, RI we can write it is delta VBE, that is input current because it is input resistance, divided by delta IB. And while doing this, what we have kept constant? Output voltage is constant. So here it is VCE equal to constant. Maybe 10 volt, 20 volt, 30 volt, 2 volt. So that is the constant value. So these are nothing but what? Characteristic of transistor, that is common emitter connection or mode, we can say configuration, because here emitter is common at the input and output. Now suppose we want to find out the same characteristic for common base and common collector. What is the variation? Variation is what? First thing, in common base mode, base should come here, base should come here, emitter should go here, collector remains as it is. Are you getting? And accordingly, what get changed? as emitter and base position get changed, base is common and input and output. In that case, the input current becomes emitter current. Are you getting? Input voltage may be VB, it is remains same, but input current get changed. It is IE. Now it is IB. Similarly, in case of common collector, collector is common now. Collector comes here, emitter goes here. Output current get changed. Output current is what? Emitter current, and this collector is common at the input and output. Input current remains same. So accordingly, this value, input resistance and output resistance, formula remains same. What get changed? This is VCE we have taken. This CE may get changed. IC we have taken. This suffix C may get changed. That is the only the change in that configuration. I hope you got what is meant by this transistor characteristics. There are two type of characteristics, input and output. That part we have finished. Now let's go to next topic, the transistor as an amplifier. So what exactly transistor as an amplifier, that we have to see here. So when we say transistor work as an amplifier, so first of all, before going into detail of this, we must know what is meant by amplifier. So let's start with this. We must know the amplifier, then we can say what is my transistor as an amplifier. So I will write here transistor as an amplifier. So what exactly transistor as an amplifier is? So before going into detail, first of all, let's see what is meant by amplifier. So amplifier is a device which will increase the strength of the signal. Amplifier is an electronic device which will increase the strength of the signal, or amplitude, power and gain of the signal get increased by using this. Before going into detail, I would like to give one of the best example for this. What is that best example? If you remember, when we gather together at our ground, for what? For prayer, definitely for prayer. When all of you gather together at our that is prayer ground in the morning at the starting section of the college. So at that time, there is one teacher who is standing on the stage, and just he has one instrument in his hand that is said to be mic. That mic is connected to one device. Suppose we can draw. This is a mic, suppose. So this is a mic. And this mic is connected by wire to one device here. And then another wire from this device, it goes to speaker. So it goes to somewhere here. This is the speaker. Now remember, what is the concept here? Whatever be the instruction given to student by that teacher in this mic, okay, whatever be the instruction given by that teacher to student in this mic, same instruction you can hear loudly here. Here the teacher will speak in small voice, or we can say amplitude of speaking is small, voice is small. So what will occur? The small voice of teacher converted into large voice. But while doing this, word remains same. Just what is my word remains same? Suppose someone speak here high. The word here in this speaker is also high. But what is the difference? Suppose this word speak here has an intensity like this much small it is. When we hear the same word here, the intensity is large. Just see, signal get increase. Initially it is very small, it get amplitude get increase, or we can say power get increase. And that was done by here, by one instrument, and that is this box. And this box is said to be audio amplifier. Audio amplifier. What is audio amplifier? Audio amplifier is a device which will increase the strength of audio signal. Initially small signal is there given as an input, output is the same signal but with a more loudness, more amplitude, and that was done by this instrument for audio signal. So it's said to be audio amplifier. I hope you got about what is meant by amplifier. Amplifier is a device which increases strength of the signal, or amplitude of signal, or gain of the signal. I hope you get what is meant by amplifier. Now let's draw the diagram, and when we draw the diagram, let's see how it works. Okay, so just we will draw the diagram. Now see, this is diagram I have drawn here. If you see this diagram for amplifier in common emitter mode again. So see, emitter is common, so this is a common emitter amplifier. transistor as an amplifier in common emitter mode. Now let's see what is the corrections here. There are two corrections. We have seen some corrections are here. What are that corrections that we have to see? So the correction are, here they have used one capacitor, and here they have used one capacitor. These capacitors are used so that it will avoid DC to pass away. DC to pass away. That is not important. Just remember one thing. That is also the important thing. But now you can't understand that in detail. Just remember one thing. We have used these two capacitors, one at the input, one at the output, so that whatever the DC inside, outside of this capacitor, inside of this, it remains in the circuit. That DC should not come to the input, that DC should not go to the output. That's why the capacitor is connected. How it will block the DC, that we'll see later on in electromagnetic induction chapter we have. In that chapter we'll see how capacitor block the DC and pass the AC. That we'll see in detail there. Now you just remember one thing, they have used only the two capacitor, okay, to block the DC part within the transistor. Now in this case, apart from this, we have to apply one Kirchhoff's law. Kirchhoff's law that we have to learn in current electricity chapter. There are two Kirchhoff's law. One related to the sum of the current is zero across any closed loop, and second is said to be Kirchhoff's second law, or sometimes said to be Kirchhoff's voltage law, that is applicable to loop. Now remember, point to remember here, this is VBE, voltage between base and emitter, VBE. Okay, so they have in your book they have shown VBE only. This is also said to be VBB because this is the battery. We will apply the voltage between these two terminals. At the same time, same thing they have done here at the output voltage. They have shown VCE, voltage between collector and emitter, VCE. And here we are going to supply the same by using the power supply, VCC here, and VBB at the input power supply, VCC is the output power supply. So I have mentioned both the things here so that it becomes a little bit clear. Now let's start with here. VI is the input, and as the symbol here, they have used the symbol here, it is the AC. So applied voltage is AC voltage, so it is VI. At the output, VO is the output. Again here they have shown the AC symbol, means output we are getting, it is also the AC. Now let's start with the Kirchhoff's second law. When we learn in detail in current electricity, you get what is the Kirchhoff's voltage law exactly. Now just try to understand, try to remember this point now. In that chapter we will see how it gets varied. So in output loop means what? Within this loop, we have to apply the Kirchhoff's law. And what the Kirchhoff's second law says, or voltage law says, algebraic sum of EMF and potential drop is always zero. That is the Kirchhoff's second law, or Kirchhoff's voltage law, that we have to apply to this output loop. And then we have to apply same Kirchhoff's second law to the input loop. Let's draw the equation for this. So output loop, we can write here the equation as I will write here, VCC equal to VCE plus IC into RL. IC into RL according to Ohm's law, current into resistance is voltage. That's why I have taken IC, current flow to this RL. So IC into RL, drop some voltage here. So that is nothing but a IC RL, and this VC is there. And VCC is the total voltage applied. So VCC equal to VC plus ICRL. This is equation 1 at the output loop. Similarly, we can apply the same law to the input loop. So what is the equation? VBB equal to VBE plus, suppose this resistance is RB. So as current passes to RB, so there must be drop of some current. This current pass like this. So we can write VBB equal to VBE plus IB into RB, equation 2. So this is according to Kirchhoff's second law. We have applied the output loop, it will give the equation 1. Input loop will get a equation 2. Now let's see. In this case, VBB is nothing but an input voltage. Suppose initially we have not applied any input voltage. This applied is 0. Suppose I have applied 0 input. In that case, these are the equations. Now suppose I have applied some voltage. I have changed the input voltage. So this equation second can be modified as, this becomes VBB plus VI. VBB already exists. Now we have applied some input voltage, so plus Vi, and it is equal to what? This same thing, VBE plus IBRB, that this part is nothing but what? VBE value that we have put it here. Okay, plus something. What is that plus something? Plus applied input voltage Vi, and that is according to Ohm's law. It is a product of current into resistance. So it becomes IB into the bracket. The value becomes what now? It becomes total resistance. Total resistance what? RB plus some input resistance that we have find out in characteristics. In previous topic we have seen Ri. So we can add IB in bracket RB plus Ri. This will give the change in the voltage at the input when we apply the input voltage Vi. This would be the equation we are getting. Now in this case, we are interested to find out the value of Vi. When we find out the value of Vi changes, it is alternating. So this current must get changed. So there must be symbol delta IB. Okay, let's go then. From this equation we can say Vi equal to delta IB in the, see, this part is this much thing is nothing but a VBB. Okay, so remaining this part must be what? Vi. So we can write Vi equal to, in the IB, delta IB in the bracket RB plus Ri. Now in this equation, what is this RB? It is a constant. It is a constant resistance applied. So it is constant and it must be very small because input junction is forward bias. So whenever it is forward bias, current is large current get flow, and large current get flow means what? Its resistance is minimum. So we can take this very small. So we can neglect it. So we can write Vi is approximately equal to delta IB into Ri. Let us say it is equation 3. Let us say it is equation 3. I hope you got these equations. Okay. After that, if you remember, we have learned the DC factor, DC current gain. Similarly, here we have to learn there is a one parameter that is said to be AC current gain, and that was represented by here beta AC. If you remember, initially we have seen beta DC. Here it is beta AC. So what is this beta AC? DC also output current divided by input current. So it is what? IC divided by IB. Only remember, this output is AC, input current is AC. In your book they have mentioned here small IC divided by small IB. You correct that. It must be capital IC divided by capital IB, and that is said to be DC AC parameter in the circuit. AC output current to AC input current, it will give AC current gain that was represented by beta AC. From this equation now, we can find out, from this equation implies that find out the value of IC. You can find the value of IC. Now remember, you can find out value of IC, and before finding the value of IC, as this is AC, alternatively changing, so you should use here some symbol, and that symbol divide by delta IB, because both are changing with the time. That is AC signals, alternatively changing, alternating current or voltage we can say. That's why it is changing, delta I will use. Now find out the value of delta IC here. This cross multiplication of these two, it is equal to beta into beta AC into delta IB. Just delta IC equal, this goes here, beta AC into delta IB. This equation we have written here because we want to use it in next parameter. Now remember, here what we have done, Kirchhoff's second law to output loop, we get this equation. To the input loop, we get this equation. While we are finding the second equation, we assume that input current, input voltage is 0. After that, when we apply the input voltage, this equation get modified. VBB plus something, VR. And that we have find out. This is the value of VI. Then we know it is input junction is forward bias, so resistance is minimum, current is maximum. So we have removed this RB. So we get VI equal to IB delta IB into Ri. After that we have find out the beta, this beta AC, and from this we have find out the value of delta IC. Now just go further. Okay, so this is about the, Now let's go to the output part. So we have written the equation for output part, that is equation 1. So we can write this as in terms of change because it is AC. We can write delta VCC equal to delta VCE plus delta IC into RL. If we assume the output voltage is 0, if we assume for sake it is 0, VCC equal to 0, so this thing equal to 0. This thing equal to 0 means what? We can find the value of VCE. This implies that VCE equal to minus delta IC into RL. We get value of VCE. What is VCE here? Just see here VCE. VCE, when the two things are connected in parallel, voltage remains constant. So this is VCE is itself nothing but what? Voltage drop across the output, that is said to be output voltage. So we can determine the output voltage and represent it in terms of V0. So we can write this equation as V0 equal to delta VCE, and that is equal to minus delta IC into RL. Now if you remember, I have not just rubbed this part. Delta IC value already we have find out from first equation at the input. It is beta AC into delta IB. Put this value here as a delta IC. So we can write here equal to beta AC into, with minus sign as it is, beta AC into delta IB. This is the value of IC into RL as it is. I hope you got how we have find out. Already I have put this part. This is nothing but a part of value of delta IC that already we have find out initially from first equation, that we have put it here. We get this equation, and that is nothing but what? Output voltage represented by V suffix 0. Now as it is output voltage, now we want to find voltage gain. See, we have seen beta DC, beta AC, alpha AC. These are the current gain, ratio of currents, current gain. Similarly, we can find out voltage gains, ratio of the voltages, output voltage to the input voltage, that will give the current gain. The ratio of output voltage to the input voltage, sorry, it's not current gain, ratio of output voltage to the input voltage, it will give the voltage gain because it is ratio of voltages. So just find out, suppose the voltage gain was represented by AV, we can write that AV equal to output voltage divided by input voltage. Output voltage divided by input voltage. What is the output voltage now? This is the output voltage minus beta AC into delta IB into RL. This is the output voltage we have seen, and already we have solved. I have just rubbed that part. Already we have solved the equation for input voltage by assuming this RB is constant, and as input resistance is small, so this must be small, so we neglect this. So what is the input voltage? It is equal to delta IB into RI. That value we have to put here, so it becomes divided by delta IB into RI. RI is small RI because it is input resistance. Now here this delta IB cancel with this delta IB. What is the equation then? The equation becomes minus beta AC into RL divided by RI, and this is the equation for voltage gain. It is said to be AV. So this is the voltage gain of amplifier in common emitter mode. Output voltage divided by input voltage. As we know, value of beta is always greater than 100 basically, or we can put any value according to manufacturing company can just first decide the value of beta, then they will manufacture the transistor. Similarly, the value of beta DC we can choose. Now in this case, this value is negative here, negative. Now same thing if we see here, output voltage is negative. See, this output voltage we have put, this is negative, but input voltage is positive. What does it means? Output voltage is out of phase with the input. Output voltage is out of phase with the input, and that point was shown by this negative sign here, or this negative sign. Output voltage is out of phase with the input. Input applied is positive, we have applied a positive input, but still we are getting the output as negative, so output is out of phase with the input. Apart from this, we can find out This is nothing but what voltage gain we have find out. This is negative we have seen. But see, in case of voltage gain, just we can remove this minus sign, or we can take magnitude only. If we take a minus, remove the minus sign. If we take a magnitude, this would be the voltage gain of this common emitter mode. Okay, and this is the highest one among all these three configuration: common collector, common base. With comparative to that, common emitter has more voltage gain. Apart from this, we can find out the power gain also. What exactly power gain is? Power gain means what? It can be represented by AP. AV is voltage gain, AP is a power gain, and it is equal to alpha DC into AV. AV means this voltage gain. That will give the power gain of common emitter amplifier. Again, I would like to make one point clear. As we have seen, the output is negative of the input. What does that mean? That we'll see. Now see here. Up till now, this is little bit mathematical part we have learned, how the equations are derived and so on. Now let's see. As in this common emitter amplifier, suppose the input applied is like this. I have applied this as an input voltage. Input changing voltage, alternating. We have applied this as an input voltage. At the output, what we get? More value we get, but it's out of phase with the input. So output waveform we can draw it here. It is like this. Are you getting? This is going out of the screen. I will draw it here. So this is suppose input voltage Vi. Then we can represent for this what is output voltage Vo. Okay. So output voltage is exactly same, but it has a minus sign. Minus means out of phase. When it is positive, then it must be negative. So it is negative. That's why that minus sign come in the equation. When it is negative, it must be positive. And if we compare this amplitude of the input and output, you can say amplitude of output is greater than the input. That means amplification was done. Strength of the signal get increased. Strength of the signal get increased in terms of amplitude is small, amplitude is large. So amplification was done, strength get increased, but only problem is what? It will give the opposite to the input. So if it is positive here at the input, at the output it is negative. And that is nothing but a amplification process in case of transistor. I hope you got transistor as an amplifier, especially transistor as a common emitter amplifier. Okay, it will increase the strength of a signal. Let's go to next part. Next part is what? It is this part up to this amplifier. We have learned transistor and that was finished. Now let's go further. Further part is nothing but a logic gates. What exactly logic gate is? That we have to see. So it is logic gates. Now remember, whenever you see anything, then we'll try to find out logic behind that. What the logic behind that thing that we want to always know. Similarly, here there are some circuits. They are said to be logic gates. Logic gates are nothing but some circuits. They will work on certain logic. Certain logic is true, then circuit will work. Certain logic is false, circuit get off. That is nothing but a logic gates. Before going in detail of logic gates, first of all we must know what is meant by AC and DC. If you remember, that is we have seen analog signal and digital signals. Analog means what? Analog signal is a signal which vary with the time. The signal which vary with the time, that is said to be analog signal. So such type of signal is said to be analog. We can draw it like this. We can draw it like this. Such signals are said to be analog. Changing continuously with time. Suppose we have taken this as a time along x-axis, and here suppose current or voltage we have taken. It is AC. It is continuously changing. There is no any step. It is continuously changing with the time. That is said to be analog signal, or we can say AC signal. But what exactly DC means? DC, or we can say digital signals. So this is about analog signal. Let's see the digital signals. Digital signals are nothing but what? Digital signals we have to see. Digital signals. Digital signals are nothing but a signal which vary not continuously, it vary in discrete step. Certain step by step it increases, step by step it decreases. For example, I want to draw it here like this. Suppose this is a y-axis, x-axis. Again, this is time, or suppose this is a current or a voltage, whatever it may be. When it becomes here, suddenly it get increased, suddenly, okay, it is not continuously increasing, suddenly get increased and remains constant for some time, suddenly get decreased, constant, suddenly get increased. Such type of signal which increases or decreases in steps, suddenly it get increased, suddenly it get decreased. That type of signals are said to be digital signals. And this logic gates does not work on analog signal, they will work on this digital signal. That's why it is very important to understand digital signals are what? Time varying signal, but suddenly, instantly they goes to high and instantly remains constant and instantly comes to the low. But in AC, it is continuously varying. Suddenly never fall, suddenly never grow up. It is continuously increasing. So that is nothing but analog and digital signal. We have learned this part also. But remember, the analog signals are not important to us because logic gate never work on analog. It works on the digital signals. Okay. So digital signals we have to see. Before going into much further detail, here in digital signals, the signals are represented by two parameters. Signals are represented by two parameters. One is said to be high value, other is said to be low value. Here in digital signal, high value means what? It is said to be 1. Code for high value is 1. And when it is low value, its code is 0. So remember, 1 means high, 0 means low. 1 means high means highest potential, it is said to be plus 5 volt, high value. And 0 means low signal, it is said to be 0 volt. And that you have to remember because this logic gate work on this. High means plus 5 volt, okay, or 1 we call it, and low means 0 volt, or we call it as a 0. So it work in 2 steps, either high or low. 2 steps are there. High step is represented by 1, low step is represented by 0. So it has only 2 steps, so 1 or 0. Okay, let's go in detail. What exactly logic gates, how they will work. Now these logic gates are the devices which has only one output and input may be 2 or more than 2. Logic gates are the devices which has 2 or more than 2 input and only one output. That device is said to be logic gate, and that device work on the logic. Okay, what is that logic, that we will see later. How that particular device gives the output according to logical, that we will see. So I hope you got logical devices or logic gates are the devices, electronic digital devices which require 2 or more than 2 input, but it has always one output. Now remember, there is one parameter in this logic gate that is said to be truth table. What exactly truth table is? Truth table, as its name is a truth. So this table always explains the true conditions. The true conditions of logic. True conditions of logic was explained by this truth table, and this is always correct or right, and that's why it is said to be truth table. Now why it is said to be table? Because it will give the combination, possible combination of the input, and according to that what should be the output, that was explained in the table. That's why it is said to be truth table, and that never be false. For certain gate has certain truth table, and that is always true. And that's why it is said to be truth table. It will give the variation of 2 input, and according to that variation, what is the output, that was mentioned 2 or more input, and that was mentioned in the truth table. Okay, now here if you see, this is the truth table. Now let's start with this first type of the gate. There are different type of gate: AND gate, OR gate, NOR gate. There are different logics, OR logic, AND logic, NOT logic, NAND, OR logic. These are the logics. Different logics are there. How that logics work, and according to each logic there is one gate, and that is said to be logic gate. Let's start with the first one. So the first one, we will start with the AND gate. AND gate. Now remember, this AND I have written in capital because this is not a text, this is a logic. So it is capital AND means what? It is AND logic, and that device obey that logic. That's why it's said to be AND gate. Now this symbolically, this gate was represented like this. Symbolically the gate was represented like this. I will draw it. It is suppose it has two input A and B and only one output, suppose it is Y. So A and B are the two input, Y is a single output. Y equal to represented in terms of input as A dot B. When you read, up till now we read as A dot D or A into D, A into B. But remember, in this case it is set to Y equal to A and dot is a symbol for AND logic, A and B. You should read it like this, Y equal to A and B. Now let's see, we have to see one parameter, that is truth table now, truth table for this. Suppose I will write here A, B and this is Y. Okay, draw the table. So that simple table we have to prepare, and possible combination of input we have to consider. So the possible combinations are, for two input gate there are four possible combinations. What is this? 0 0, 0 1, 1 0 and 1 1. These are the four possible combination. Except for fifth combination is not possible here, because only possible combinations are four, and that was explained in the truth table. 0 0, 0 1, 1 0, 1 1. Two input, okay? And what is the corresponding output for this? That they have mentioned here. So here logically AND gate operate, it will give the output high. Output high when it's both the inputs are high. When both the inputs are high, A and B, it will give the output high. Otherwise, it will give the output low. And that is said to be AND gate. That is said to be AND gate. Now remember, this is about AND gate. But I have told you initially, if the gate is a circuit which has two or more than two input but only one output. What we have learned here, two input, one output gate we have seen. Suppose it has three input. Suppose it has three input A, B and suppose somewhere here it is C. Okay, then we have to draw the truth table. How many input it has? 3. So how many possible combinations, that we have to learn. So here we have to consider another column. So here I will just rub this part. So it consists of three input gate. So we should consider three parameters here. What are the three parameters? Three inputs. First is the A, then B, then C. So these are three inputs. What are the possible variations then? Possible variations, what? 0 0 0 first, 0 0 1 second, 0 1 0 third, 1 0 0 fourth. Okay, 1 0 1 5. Okay, I will write the fifth here side by 1 0 1. Then again I will write here A B C as the next combination. I will write here 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 and the last is 1 1 1, and corresponding output Y we want to represent. Now see how many possible variations are there. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Something is wrong. 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 1. ठीक. 2 3 4 5 6 7. 7 is it getting, but it should be 8. So there is something wrong somewhere. So yes, I got it. Where it is wrong, I will got it. So see, here we have taken 1 0 0 now. Instead of this, first is 0 0 0, second is 0 0 1, third is 0 1 0, fourth is 0, here it is 1 1, this is the fourth one, then it becomes 1 0 0, then it becomes 1 0 0, okay, 1 0 1, then it becomes 1 1 0, the last becomes 1 1 1. Are you getting how I understand this? Because if all the inputs are high, then output is high. If we are not getting in this step, then we can't get it. So that this I got it. And apart from this, there is one general formula to understand this. Whatever be the number of inputs are there, initially 2 we have seen, 2 raised to power n. This is the general formula. How many rows the truth table has? truth table has 2 raised to power n number of rows, this rows. Now see, if it has 2 input, 2 to the power 2, it is 4. That we get 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 4 rows for 2 input. 3 input, how many are the rows? 2 raised to power 3. 2 raised to power 3, it becomes 8. It is 2 raised to power 2. 2 raised to power 3, it becomes 8. And that 8 variations are required. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 variations we have. Now what is our condition for AND gate? AND gate will give the output high when its all inputs are high, and that is this last condition. And for all other combination, its output is always 0. And that is nothing but a property of AND gate. So just in your book they have mentioned the 2 input, I have told you the 3 input. If it has 4 input, how many rows it has? 2 raised to power 4, it becomes 16. Okay, so 16 rows it has. Accordingly it will work. Now let's go to the second part. Second type of logic gate we have to see, and that second type of logic gate, again this symbol or this formula is applicable to all gate except NOT gate. This formula is applicable to all gate except NOT gate. Now let's go to second type of gate, and that second type of gate is said to be OR gate. So let's see the second gate, it is said to be OR gate. Again OR is a logic, so I have taken it in capital. So OR gate symbolically it was represented like this. Such type of gate it is, and this is said to be the Y output. It has the input, suppose it consists of 2 input A and B. So this is 2 input and only 1 output OR gate. Okay, mathematically it will be represented by Y equal to A plus B, but it is not plus, it is said to be A or B. This is OR gate. Okay, mathematically represented. Let's go to truth table. Now this truth table of this is what? Again it is combination. So it is A, it is B, it is Y. So these are the combinations. Let's start. How many variations? 2 input, 2 to the power 2, it is 4 rows. What are the 4? 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. Okay, we are not getting this, so just I will write here at upward part I will write it. So just I will write a truth table here. Okay, it is A, it is B, it is Y. So let us draw. So we can write this as a truth table like this. So let's see, 4 combinations: 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. These are the only 4 combinations possible here. Now remember, OR gate will give the output high. OR gate has a property that it will give the output Y high when it's any one of the input is high. When it's any one of the input is high. See, this is high, any one out of this is high, so it will give the high output. This is high, high output. If any one input is high or both the inputs are high, it will give the high output. Otherwise, it will give the low output, 0. In short, how to remember? OR gate, O, start from O. So it will give 0, 0, 0, the remainings are 1. 0, 0, 0, the remainings are 1. So this is nothing but OR gate. Now let's go to the third gate, that is said to be NOT gate. How the NOT gate work, that we have to see. Let's see. One property of OR NOT gate is what? The property is such that NOT gate have only one input and only one output. Only one input and only one output. So let's start with the NOT gate. Third gate, NOT gate. Now how this NOT gate work? Symbolically, it can be represented as NOT gate, na? So it will be symbolically represented by this triangle with one bubble at the output, because it will give the negation. So this is the output A, input A. This is the output Y, represented by A's complement. A's complement or inversion we can say. Whatever be the value of A, exactly opposite output would be there. So, and in case of truth table, it can be represented as A single input and single output it is. It has only one input, 2 raised to power 1, 2 rows. So when A is 1, Y is opposite, 0. When it is 0, it is 1. And that's why we can say output is a negation of the input or complement of the input. That's why it is said to be NOT gate, or sometimes it is said to be inverter. Is it? Whatever is the value of A, exactly opposite we are getting here. When it is 0, we get its complement, inversion 1. It is 1, it is 0, and that is a truth table. Okay, so this is for NOT gate. Now let's go to the next type of the gate, that is said to be NAND gate. NAND gate, as its name suggests that it is NAND gate. What exactly it means? N, A and D, NAND, all in capital because it is logic. Let's see. What is NAND gate? NAND gate is simply the AND gate, and before this AND, they have used a NOT gate. NOT gate followed by AND gate create a new logical gate, that is said to be NAND gate. And it is said to be, it is not AND. Means its truth table is exactly inversion of AND gate truth table. Now let's draw how they will represent this NOT gate. So it is represented simple way, similar to that of AND gate. So this is a AND gate we know, but it is inversion. It is not AND gate. So it must have some bubble here. And that is said to be inversion of this. Inversion of this, and that is inversion of this means what? Exactly opposite of the AND gate. Now let's see. Suppose it has a two input A and B, and it has only one output Y. How can we represent this NAND gate symbol then? Mathematically, how can we write a Boolean equation? Whatever the equations we are writing here, they are said to be Boolean expressions or equations. So Y equal to A and B complement. Why it's complement? Exactly opposite of AND gate. Now let's see how can we write a truth table. I will write a truth table here. So again, it has two input. So how many rows? 4 rows. Write down here truth table. So the truth table is A, B and Y. Let's see the possible combinations. Possible combinations are only 4. So it becomes 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and last one is 1, 1. This would be the possible, these are the possible combinations. Now let's see what the NAND gate truth table output is. It is exactly opposite of the AND gate. And we have seen in case of AND gate, it will give the output high. When it's both the inputs are high, output is high. That is the property of AND gate. And this is not work as an AND gate. So this NAND gate has a property that when it's both the inputs are high, it will give the low output, exactly opposite to AND gate, and remainings are high. Remainings are high. In another way, we can say NAND gate is a gate which will give the output high when its any one input is low or both the inputs are low, its output is high. Otherwise, it is best to remember when both the inputs are high, its output is low. Otherwise, it will give for or all other combination, it will give the output high. So this is logic of the NAND gate. Now let's go similar to AND. We have seen the NAND. This NAND can be represented little bit different way. So this is the NAND I have written like this. We can draw it like this also. So this is NOT gate. Again, this is a NOT gate. Okay. Followed by this is AND gate, and this is Y is equal to A and B complement. A, B. You can verify this truth table also. So let's start with the first. We will verify the truth table for this. Similarly, you can apply for AND or NOT and all other gates. Let us suppose A is 0, B is 0. This is 0, this is 0. It is inverter. Inverter means what? Opposite. So we get 1, 1. What is the property of OR gate? 1, 1. Sorry, what is the property of AND gate? For 1, 1, it will give the 1. No, something is wrong. So we should not apply the inversion here. We should apply inversion outside. Later on, suppose we will modify a little bit. Suppose I have taken the two gate like this. These are the AND gate. This is A, this is B, and at the output I have applied the NOT gate like this. Now this is Y equal to A and B complement. Now let's see what will occur. A equal to 0, B equal to 0. In case of AND gate, 1, 1, 1, remainings are 0. So we get 0 here. Okay, it will make inversion, it will make 1 here. So 0, 0, 1. Let's see. 0, 0, here it is 1. Let's apply the condition 1, 1 here. What will occur? The last condition we will apply. Okay. So here it is 1, here it is 1. AND gate give the output high for both the inputs are high. So it is 1. Inversion, it is 0. Let's see. 1, 1, it is 0. In this fashion it will work. So remember what I try to explain you. I try to explain. The NAND gate can be represented like this also. Okay. So NAND gate can be represented like this also. Let's start with the next type of the gate, and that is said to be exactly opposite of OR gate, and that is said to be NOR gate. Fifth type of gate, that is said to be NOR gate. Let's start with the NOR. It is a fifth type of logic, NOR. It is very simple. Negation of OR. What will the working of OR? Exactly opposite working of OR gate. It is said to be NOR gate. And how it will be represented? In case of symbol, it is symbol of OR gate is like this, just like a AND and NAND. Here there should be one bubble, and this is output Y, and this is the inputs A and B. And mathematically can be Boolean equation Y equal to A or B. A or B. And as it is A or B, but it is what exactly A or B, but it is not OR gate. It's complement of OR. So it is inversion of OR. What is the logical symbol? Oh, sorry, the truth table. So we can write this as A, B, Y. I will write it like here. Let's write down the truth table here. Possible combination, 2 inputs, 4 variations, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So this will be the truth table. Now let's see. What is the truth table of OR gate? OR gate will give the output high. OR gate will give the output high if any one of the input is high or both the inputs are high, or in short 0 0 0 OR gate. But it is not OR. So what is the truth table? 0 0 1. Remainings are the 0. Exactly these conditions are opposite of that of OR gate. In case of OR gate, 0 0 0 remainings are 1. But it is not NOR gate. 0 0 1 remainings are the 0. That is nothing but a NOR gate. After that, NOR, NOT, and OR, there is another gate, 6th gate, that is special type of gate. It is said to be XOR gate, exclusive OR gate, or sometimes said to be XOR, exclusive OR, or sometimes said to be XOR gate. How it will be symbolically represented like this, symbol of OR with one line here, one line extra here, because it is XOR gate, exclusive OR. Again it has a 2 input, suppose A and B. It has only one output. Boolean equation can be written as A or B, but it is not OR, XOR. So it is represented by circle to the positive side, and that is said to be XOR gate or exclusive OR gate. What is the truth table of this? Truth table of this says that if these are the input A, B, this is the output Y. Truth table says that when 4 possible combinations 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, it says that when any one of the input is opposite, any one of the input is opposite, this gate will give the high output, otherwise it will give the low output. Any one of the input is high, other is low. Okay, so see, both are same, both are low, so it will give 0. Both are high, it will give 0. Any one of the high, other is low, these are the 2 conditions. For this it will give the output high. This is a special condition and special gate, that's why it is said to be XOR gate or exclusive OR gate. I hope you got about this all gates. Now remember, one point about this gate might be in some examination, especially competitive examination. In that examination, they will give the complicated circuit. They will give the complicated circuit, and they will told you find out the output of this. For this input, what should be the output? Suppose I have drawn such type of circuit. Okay, Apart from this, it's not still to stop. Suppose I have given this again here. Find out why. Such type of circuit they will give, and they will ask you what should be the output for certain input combination. Suppose the input A is 1, B is 0, C is 1, D is 0. 1 0 1 0. What would be the output? You have to find it out. How can you find? Just find out. This is 1, it comes 0 here. 1 0, it comes 1 here. This is AND gate, this again AND gate. So 0 1 AND gate, 1 1 1, remainings are 0. So remainings are 0. 0 0 goes to OR gate. 0 0 0, remainings are the 1. So output would be what? 0. In this fashion, any complicated network can be solved for this. Okay, so such type of complicated circuit you have to practice. Just I have taken for sake of understanding. Lot of complicated combination can come. Maybe some NAND comes here. Okay, this is NAND, this is AND or XOR. That things will come. Okay, so you must have the practice of that. In this fashion, we have completed this chapter, semiconductor. Now remember, what I have taught you up till now, I hope all of you have understand it very well. If you have any problem regarding this topic I have taught you today, you can consult me or you can just contact me on my WhatsApp number. You know my number, and just ask me if you have any difficulty. We will discuss it at that time. Just ask me. And remember, you have to prepare this whole chapter. This chapter is very easiest. One of the best thing behind this is what? This chapter doesn't have numericals. Only theoretical part is there, so it's very important to learn and very easy. So all theoretical topics are here. So semiconductor chapter we have finished today. In next period we will start the next chapter. Okay, so take care and just prepare yourself. After watching my video, just try to look at the book and just read whole topic and understand the same topics. Still, if you have the difficulty, you can contact. Thank you.